Hey there, Beck and Nick here. Welcome to the conversation. We're so grateful you're here.
We met through business and became best friends through a shared passion to help women earn more and give more.
We are the founders of Women, Wine and Wealth, have global businesses helping women, and are your hosts of The Spill.
The Spill connects you to real conversations for women, by women in a way you haven't heard before. So grab your wine and let's spill. And we are so excited today to chat with Tracey, because Tracey here is an entrepreneur. She's a motivational speaker and financial educator who spends her time sharing the knowledge, experience, and passion she has helping professional women achieve financial independence. So Tracey is an expert in the areas of wealth creation, in leadership, achievement, and fulfillment. And as a mum and business leader, she has walked a successful path for over 2 decades and has proven methods, which we love, knowing what it takes to be successful at work and in life. So ladies, you're in for a treat, and we have some of your questions that you've sent in to us. So thank you for that. And, you know, Beck and my job, it's to get it covered and get you as much knowledge and wisdom as we can. Make sure to stay tuned to the end of this call because we have an opportunity for you ladies to get more coaching and learning directly from Tracey. So we'll dive into those details at the end of it. But Tracey, before we get into the ladies' questions that we have for you, I would love to know, because financial confidence is a term, it's like a word that I heard from you, directly from you. And I would love to know, why do you believe it's the cornerstone of financial success? Like, what was it that you learned or that you've heard over your 2 decades of experience where it had you go, it's all about financial confidence for women?
It's actually 3 decades now. God help me. Oh my God, it's 3 decades, John Wade. Okay. Throughout the last 31 years across accounting and financial planning, because I started my life in this area as an accountant, went into financial planning, and now want to impact so many more women. And so in order to do that, this is how we do that. We have this technology, which is so beautiful and brilliant, that we can reach out to thousands. And, you know, we're all one, right? All of a sudden, a global community. The knowledge is really important, financial knowledge. And I don't mean that you have to go and get a degree and become a financial planner. The foundational knowledge is incredibly important. But having the knowledge alone will not change a thing. It just doesn't. You know, all these self-help books and learning, you know, programs after programs after programs, and then saying, well, why didn't that work? Because everything starts with this. And so I learned very early in the piece that unless I was able to create an awareness, a shift, an aha moment, an opening the window and going, oh my God, you know, it's actually my behavior. It's actually my belief systems. It's my attitude. It's all of that impacts whether I take that foundational knowledge and what I do with it. I'm hoping this is making sense. Yeah. And financial confidence is all of those elements. So for anyone that's done the quiz, you will notice that when you got your scores, it talks about the attitude, and the attitude is what you believe to be true around money. What did you hear at home with mum and dad? Like, did mum and dad say money's evil and, you know, rich people are evil and you don't want to be rich because that was a bad thing to be? Or was it amazing? Were rich people revered? Was money respected? Was money used wisely? What were the conversations that were going on? They build the scripts that you keep replaying in your mind subconsciously, and you don't even know you're doing it. So if you can't change those things, all the knowledge in the world just doesn't shift the needle. It doesn't change anything because you keep repeating the same patterns and wondering why nothing changes. And so financial confidence is attitude, which then leads to your behavior, because what the scripts are in your mind is what you exhibit. So exhibit meaning the behavior that you're exhibiting, what you're doing. I'll give you an example in a minute. And then the other piece is the basic foundational knowledge, and all of that put together gives you your financial well-being. Having the confidence in yourself, baseline confidence, and it just builds over time. Nothing in life worth having is going to happen like that. That's the honest truth. If you want total honesty, I am transparent all the way. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. They don't work. They don't exist. If you're looking for it, good luck. If I knew it, I'd do it. I would have done it myself. It's tried and true simplicity of life. And so building a baseline of financial confidence, which says, you know what, I know where I come from when it comes to money, but I know who I am today because I know I want to live life according to my values, what's important to me. So if those two things aren't aligned, if what I'm saying in my mind around money and what I'm exhibiting is not going to allow me to live life according to my values, I have a problem. And that's what I was doing. So my credit card story, my blowing out the credit card story, stopped me in my tracks, and I went, oh my God, what just happened here? How did this happen to me? How did I get here? And until I did the work and went back and had a look at where I came from, which was paycheck to paycheck in my family, money is a skill not taught. I just simply took that and just adopted it in my everyday life because nobody taught me anything else. How the hell would I know? And I just went on business as usual until I ended up in so much trouble, I didn't know how to get out of that trouble. And then because I was in this area, I started trying to work out what the hell had happened. So I went back to my money stories, to my emotional stories. What was it like at home with mum and dad and all of that? And I realized that I just went, oh my God. Like, seriously, you'd think the most simple things that are sitting under your nose you would know. Not really. Not until somebody stops you and point blank asks you. And then doing a values exercise and really tapping into what was important to me. One of the biggest things was to live independently, not be reliant on anyone else. Well, if I kept spending the way I was spending, do you think I was going to have that? How was that ever going to happen if I didn't go, right, this is what's really important to me and this is what I'm doing. I've got to change something. Something here's got to change. Something's got to give, right? And so it was aligning those two things. Being aware of that behavior, being aware of where you're coming from is the first step to building financial confidence. You've got to get down in the trenches and, pull it all out, as ugly as it can be. But you know what? It's, how can I say it? It sets you free. It's like this weight off your shoulders. It's like, oh, thank God. Now we know what the hell's going on and why I'm doing all of these stupid things. And I've done, multiple courses and nothing's changed. Well, hello, I wonder why. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Tracey, even listening to you, I know your values test that I did, I think, for the first time maybe 18 months ago. I do it every 6 months now. And it is probably one of the best things I've ever done because it just keeps, as you said, it does pull you out of the trenches. And even though I'm not in the trenches, it's just in my mindset, it goes, where am I at? I'm earning more money or I'm in a different living scenario. I need to check in and see where my values are right now because they do always change. So I want to say thank you because it's one of the best tools I've had that completely just can click me into gear, excuse the pun, and it just allows me to live in that space. So thank you. Now we are going to jump into some questions that we have, and some of these questions are really, I'm excited to hear the answers because I can't wait to learn from them as well. So the first one, Tracey, we've got is, if you have a surplus of cash right now, where would you start in terms of learning where to invest it, to diversify, protect, and grow it? And I guess what direction would you take, as there's so much info and it's pretty hard to know where to start?
Okay, first things first, what is your goal? Because basic foundational investing knowledge is this. What is the purpose of those funds? So let me try and make sure that I'm explaining this properly. If your investment strategy, if what you want to achieve is long-term, what's long-term? 10 plus years. Long-term, 7, they used to say, 10 plus years. If what you want to achieve with that money, if you have that 10 plus years, it will change where you need to invest it versus if you want to put in a pool for summer. Let's assume you've got a surplus of cash, or you've got a little bit of money in the bank and you've got a surplus of cash, and you want to know what to do with it. My first question is, and I get this quite often with clients, Trace, I've got 50K in the bank. What should I do? Well, right. What's the purpose of the funds? How much time have we got? What are you thinking around that? So let me frame it up this way. If it's, well, the kids are young, and while they're young, we want their friends to come around, we're going to put in a pool for summer. Great. So you're going to need access to that in the next 3 or so months? Yes. Keep it in a high interest account. Why? You can invest it, absolutely, without a doubt. And the only place you could really invest something like that would be managed funds or direct shares. And managed funds, for those of you who don't know, are institutions that pool people's money together and then allow you to invest across different assets like property, shares, fixed interest and cash inside a managed fund. So they are experts in the field. You would have heard of, say, Colonial First State, or maybe most people would have heard of IOOF, or they would have heard of Perpetual, or, you know, there's 1,000,001 of them out there. It takes the investment decision away from yourself. The experts do it. It's great to diversify, because for $1,000 down, as an example, and a savings plan of $100 a month, you can access all those asset classes: property, shares, fixed interest and cash. You can't do that by yourself with $1,000. Like, you can barely buy one parcel of shares, and let's use Telstra as an example, with $1,000, and it's not diversified. It's one share. So you could invest that money in a managed fund or direct shares. The only problem is this: if you need it in 3 months, because the purpose of those funds is for a swimming pool, what if it's dived at that time? What if it was, say, 30 grand and it's gone down to 25 just when you need to pull it out and pay for the pool? So short-term investing is, by its very nature, the word investing, opposite to saving, is long-term, should be long-term. Is this making sense? But if that 30 grand doesn't have to be used for anything in particular, it's not a pool, it's not a holiday, it's not for kids' education or somewhere where you're trying to get it to grow a bit. If you've got the long-term, okay, now we're talking a different story. Now we need to look at your risk profile. What is your appetite to risk? What are you comfortable investing in after you've understood the basics of each asset class? 4 asset classes, generally speaking: property, shares, fixed interest and cash. What is your tolerance to risk? Will then lay the groundwork for where it can be invested and the different types of investments you can go into. So it's always about that. There is no one solution every time to these types of questions. It's really coming back to, how much time have you got? What's the purpose of the funds, and what are we trying to achieve? And then we would go from there.
Makes so much sense. Yeah. I think that's what you do so well, Tracey, is just give clarity, because even when I read that question, I was like, yeah, I want to know the answer to that. Like, what would you do right now in this market with everything going on? But as you said that, Tracey, I remember that's the process, having personally worked with you, that we went through. And it does, it makes so much sense. So the next question that we have for you is, being a newly single parent to 2 toddlers and 5 months pregnant, so another one on the way, plus trying to build 2 businesses, the question is how to best manage money flow and keep on track when you're that sole provider 24/7 and also the carer. So, you know, being a mum and a business owner, and I guess the question kind of comes down to managing that cash flow properly.
That's really, really important, especially when I can't believe you're doing that, whoever that is. You're a queen. 2 kids, a toddler, 2 businesses. I don't think I could do that. Cash flow is king, without a doubt. It sounds cliche, but it's not. These days, it's so much easier because we have apps on our phones that we can use. I would recommend getting an app that allows you to track your, dare I say, budget. The girls know me long enough to know I don't like the word budget. I've renamed it cash flow analysis. So what's coming in and what's going out? Simple.
So much sexier, Tracey. So much sexier.
I mean, budget feels like I'm getting choked or something. It's like, oh God, the budget. Nobody likes the budget. It's horrible. But what we do like is to know what's coming in terms of income, and what are our expenses, what's going out. Getting all over that, doing the groundwork at the start, and you can do that manually, obviously, through Excel spreadsheets and so on. But I would recommend getting onto an app, and there's a number of apps that you can get that are free that also download directly from your bank. So your bank will download the transactions into this app, and you just have to categorize them. Is it food? Is it car? Is it insurance? Is it mortgage? And then you can track that as you're going to see exactly where your money's going. And you've got to do that. You can't go, oh, it's all up here. Because it's not all up there, I can assure you. I've worked with thousands of people, and every single time I've got a bit of resistance, I've said, oh, look, humour me. Do you mind? Like, it'd be really lovely if you could do it, and we could, in our next meeting, have a bit of a look at it. And they go, oh, okay. And then they come back, and you know what happens? Oh, my God, I had no idea. And I'm like, yeah. Most of us don't have any idea. Life's busy, yeah? I had one client, and this might sound crazy, but she had subscribed to so many donations. She's a beautiful person. They got up to $250 a month. She didn't know, So you've got to look after yourself first before you can look after others, and she didn't know that. So a lot of the time we are unaware. But yes, you are on the right track. You do need to make sure you're all over your cash flow. Make sure you do it first and foremost. Don't get bogged down. Here's the thing that generally happens. So you got 2 kids, you're pregnant, you're building 2 businesses. Time is time is critical for you. I'm guessing that without a doubt. And so what happens is, because time is limited, you kind of get bogged down, and until you can do it exactly, you're going to go, oh, look, I can't do it now. Okay. Best guesstimate, just get it done. Don't let those things hold you back. Don't worry about it. Best guesstimate. So I usually have a pile of bills that are there. Pull them all out. Have a look at that. Oh yeah, that comes quarterly. What was that last time? 300. Just go 4 of those, right? Get an idea, but do something. Don't do nothing and wait for the perfect moment, because it never comes, as we know. But I would recommend getting an app. And the app that downloads straight into your the bank will download into that, and it's powerful. So you can set your budget, you can have a look at what's happening, and it will keep you on track. They're brilliant.
I think the call's done. I mean, listening to that's going to be a massive load, and I think would you say, Tracey, that would be the first step, is being able to download that free app, as you said, and making that your first step, knowing that once that's done, everything else will open your eyes, and maybe you won't avoid as much, or you're just aware of what's actually going in and out, as you said. So I love that. The next question is, what are your tips on setting up different accounts, such as daily expenses, emergency funds, holiday funds, and major purchases fund, etc.? And is there a best account to save for major purchases? I know you're going to have a field day with this.
Look, I believe in simplicity. Simplicity is key, because if you can't think of it in your head, and like, I have a photographic memory, so I see pictures. Yeah. If you can't see it in your head and how it's flowing, we have a problem. Life is busy. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating that, because it's true. Life is busy. We need to be set up for success. So we need to do the groundwork. What is that? I personally have 3 accounts. Yeah. Well, the 4th is the cash cushion, but I have 3 accounts. My wages from my own business goes into the check account. This is the old banking system I had that works well for me. The check account, that's the bills account. And I know that all bills are covered. There is a time frame when you first start that's got to build up and get there. But once you've established that in time, that will get easier and easier. The second one is my spending, guilt-free. I pay myself weekly. I don't have to think about, is that bill going to be covered because I've got this in here, and can I buy that jacket? Because, all of this stuff going on in your head, who's got time for that? No one's got time for that. You just need to look at the accounts and go, yep, done, and done. And the third one is paying myself first. 10 to 30% minimum off the top. Just do it. Don't question it. Just do it. Promise you it will change your life. And what's the worst thing that could happen? You're going to end up with more money in this account. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still your money. It's just in another account. And if you find, because sometimes it's a lot of the time it's nerve-wracking to go, how can I do that? I can't do. How can I do that? I can barely live now. I promise you'll find something. And I don't care if it's 10 or 20 bucks a week. What I care about is the habit, the ritual. Start and get a feel for it and keep going. And in times of fear, keep pushing through. If you really get stuck, pull it out. It's there. It's in that third account. It's just sitting there. Hasn't gone anywhere. No one's taken it off you. But you know what's going to happen? You're going to go, oh, God, I've got $100 there now. Oh, that's 300. Oh, and I've managed to readjust my spending to this amount. How did I do that? We do that. We can do that. You know, so many times we get the pay rise and then we increase our spending to soak up the pay rise without even thinking about it. It just happens, right? So exactly what Beck said, in your face clarity, having a look at it going, I just got a pay rise and I've got an extra $50 a week. Now I can choose to blow it, or I can go, you know what? I'm going to take, I don't know, let's throw some figures out there. I'm going to keep 20 for myself and I'm going to add the extra 30 to my pay myself first account. Let's see how that goes. It's all of those little numbers. Do not underestimate the power of those little numbers over a long period of time, but you've got to be patient. You won't see it happen straight away. It's not an overnight success thing. It just doesn't work that way. It's called the power of compound. It needs time and it needs your patience and belief that it works because it's real.
Yeah, I remember, Tracey, and it seems such a simple thing because I remember that's the first thing that you had me do is organize my accounts, because the way that I had it, I thought I was doing it. I thought I was doing that saving, always paying myself first, but I didn't necessarily place it in a different position, the money. And it's like we don't give money a purpose and a position, it leaves somehow. And it was the smallest thing. You think you're doing something, but until you actually, like you said, set it up and structure it where it's kind of like a no-brainer, like it's done. Otherwise, I just found myself, I thought I was doing it and my actions daily were not. They were not. And it just made the biggest difference. And I think, I don't know who says the quote, they say habits always trump feelings. And it's so true with this. Like you set it up and you do the habit because, you know, everyone's feeling when you get the pay rise or when you get a bonus or whatever it might be, of course I feel like spending it. So,
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. And, you know, I went back to, you know, where I came from financially. Now that will always be a part of me.
Totally.
That doesn't go away. There's no magic pill that, oh, I'm fixed. It's I'm aware. I know my money behaviors. I know my triggers. I know where I come from.
Yeah.
And that in itself is power because I'm now totally aware. And when I go to exhibit that behavior again, I'm human. I still like, you know, I never ever like to come from a place of I love abundance. So let's think abundance mindset. So let's not, this self-deprivation is not good for the soul. It's not good for anyone. So you are human and you're beautiful and young once in your life. You've got to, as hard as it is, it can be done. You've got to enjoy your life today because this day never comes back. But you can't sacrifice the future you. She's waiting for you. Don't let her down either. And try and manage those two things. And simply by setting these rituals in place, these structures in place, and they do work. So, Beck, yes, I'm going to have a field day because you need to set yourself up for success. You need to have these direct debits. Do not leave it in your hands of, I will do the transfer each week. Oh, no, you won't. And you will find a reason why. Oh, look, had to change the tires this week and, oh, God, the insurance is due. Yeah, no, next week. Next week doesn't come. Just do it. But start little. If you're really nervous, don't go for broke. Start little, but start something and see that it works. So whether you go to your payroll master or you do it yourself, set up where that income comes in, whether it's business, whether it's your wage from your business, the core income, and then get the direct debits happening. But you won't know those amounts unless you do the cash flow analysis. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to get all over it. And then you go, well, how important are these things to me? And where do I need to tweak? And yes, every 6 months, your values, just like your cash flow, needs to be looked at all of the time. And when major changes happen, if you get a pay rise, or maybe your income's gone down because of COVID, I don't know. Maybe you've started another business and you've got another income stream. Well, you can't just blow that, because I've seen so many people come to me later on in their lives who've been in business for a long time and literally still have a mortgage at the age of 50, 60, maybe a car, and 50 grand in super. What have you done your whole life? Where's your money gone? And I'm talking about these people who've been in business making big money.
Yeah. We don't want to end up there, ladies. That is not the position we're going to be in. No. Absolutely not. Tracey, the ladies would love to know, do you yourself have a mentor?
Always have one. Always.
Yeah. Why do you? Because Beck's like nodding. We just always go on about mentorship because I think it's the fastest accelerator, no matter what it is you're learning or where you want to be. Why do you always have one, Tracey? And what's the biggest, I don't know, the biggest thing that a mentor has done for you or that you learned from them?
Firstly, every superior athlete, every successful person has a coach or a mentor. Why do I have it? I love personal growth. I love it because, and my mind has always been like that. That's how I was raised, to continuously learn. I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. Life is a journey of unraveling, which is beautiful, but they keep me accountable. I look for the mentors, and they generally, it's really funny. I know this is going to sound cliche too, but they appear at different times and different people as I need them. So I guess it's that energy I'm putting out there and they're just appearing. Like if you and I was never that spiritual energy girl, right? I'm a woman of science, for God's sake. And I'm learning later in my life. It's come a bit late, but to listen to the gut and open the heart, mind, and soul to the universe. And it sounds woo-woo, but it's not. The energy, because if you close yourself off to those energies, they're shut, the door's shut. So, don't know if I'm answering the question properly, but they keep me learning, and I always look for the person that has walked that path before me. So if they've done it, why reinvent the wheel? Just go straight to the source. I know they've done it. Can you help me do it? Can you guide me through it? It just makes sense, doesn't it?
Sure does.
The idea is that you find a mentor. The one thing I can say is find the mentor that is all in with you, that is all in from the heart with you. I have experienced some that have been probably building their own and haven't given me the 100%, but I still learn from them too. Like there's nothing you don't learn from coming into contact with other people. Even these live Q&As, having the opportunity to speak openly and out loud out of my head, I get so much more out of it too, because it's like until you're asked these things, you kind of go, oh yeah, I didn't think of it like that. But, the question brought it out of me. Because I don't sit around Q&Aing myself. Like, does that make sense? Like, you don't do that, do you?
So true. Love it.
It's so true. And Tracey, I'm trying to think of what women could be thinking right now that question has been asked. And, some people might say, I don't have enough money to invest in a mentor, and I just go back to when you said before around the $20, whether you just have $20 to put away. And I'm that's such an achievable number, and it might seem so small, but it can, as you said, it's a compound effect that could eventually, if you do find your values, you do get the app and you do set it aside, it could give you your next mentor. So I'm loving listening right now, because I can just sense that so many women will be sitting thinking that's just the start, and that could be a massive, because you can't afford not to have a mentor, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is an investment you have to do. And that isn't a cost. That literally is, they talk about investing in yourself. Yes, you have to. I spend a ton of money investing in myself, because I know that I'm going to get everything that I need out of it. It's going to get me to another level. I know that. I'm the true believer. It's priceless.
It is. That's amazing. Next question we have is, do you have a goal setting process you believe in? And I feel we could have already touched on it, but what would you recommend to someone asking, I don't even know where to start. Do I need to find my goals first? What would you recommend?
First thing I recommend is you do your values questionnaire, so your goals are real. Value-based goals is what I believe in. Mainly because, and I feel like I've said this so many times, but different people are listening. Because we have this thing called social media, and if you're on there and if you're not on there, we live in a world where the messaging is, I don't know, inauthentic maybe. We're watching other people with their beautiful photos, and, everyone posts their beautiful photos because it's happy moments. You don't post yourself being upset, do you? And some people take that and think that everybody else has got this amazing life, and why haven't I? Or this is how I should be. So it's almost like if you're taking the messaging in the wrong way, you could be led down the garden path with goals. The goals have to be yours, that represent what's important to you in your life. And they're totally different for everybody else. And you don't need the permission. You don't need to be like everyone else. If you felt like the odd one out all the time, go with it. Go with it. Embrace it. That's okay. I felt like that most of my life. Like I was always the odd one out. I'm embracing that now, because it is who I am. And that's a nice thing about getting old, really. Age does that to you. Yeah. Getting old is a good thing. That's one good thing. Embrace that, and that's okay. So be who you are. Step into it. Your goals will reveal all of that to you. Then, based on those values, set the goals that you need to set to achieve those, or to retain or keep those values, or help you achieve those values. Like another one of my values is I value education incredibly, like really high, because it was drummed into us when we were kids with my father, and I value education very highly. So one of my definitions of success is if I can get both of my children, whether it's university, whether it's a trade, whatever it is, get them educated to a level where they are then out. They've done it. They've got into it. They're happy. They got to do stuff that makes them happy. And then they've come out the other end, and they're good people in the world, and they get into build their own lives and can be financially independent and start living. That's success. Like, for me, that's the ultimate success. If I, as a mother, can achieve that for my kids, oh my God, I would be over the moon. And so how does that relate back to money? Okay, well, one of my goals is to make sure that I am putting away and earning enough, so the money that goes away is put towards educating my kids and supporting them in that path. That's really important to me. And that value has a financial currency, doesn't it? So can I just touch on that? Oh, money's not important to me. Money doesn't make you happy. That's just a cop-out. Stop doing that as women. It's a cop-out. Money is important because money allows you to live a life based on your values. Every single thing that we want in this world has a currency to it. How do we build memories? How do we go on holidays? How do we give them the education? How do I become financially independent so someone doesn't have to look after me? How do I do that without money? I haven't worked that out.
So true. Yeah.
Let's not be ashamed of saying we need that money. We need to talk about that money. Most things have a financial currency attached to it. So it's not about the money. It's about how we want to live based on our values. But at the end of the day, it's got this thing attached to it. So that's why we need to be financially savvy as women, more so now than ever. I mean, we always were, but now we have that freedom. The world allows us. It's not so taboo. It's probably more we as women who haven't kind of embraced it and gone, right, we're ready to open it up and talk about it. I don't think anyone's going to stop us. I think we're stopping us. I think
100% agree.
We as women are stopping us because I think the world's ready for it. I don't believe anyone else is stopping us but us. And we need to drop the curtain and step out and go, right, we're talking about this. And it is ladylike and it is sexy and it is funky and, this is what we need to do.
Absolutely. We need more of that conversation. I feel like we could do a whole, we need to create something around that. I feel like we need a conversation of that, like straight up, because it is. And I love how you said it's a cop out. It's like, what do we hide? Like, stop hiding behind that story of I don't need it, or, money doesn't mean that much to me. And, it's not all about the money and, don't be greedy. It's, what greed. Yeah. It's just, like you said, we don't live in a fairy tale world. We need that currency to fund the dream, to fund the moment, to fund the memory, to fund the contribution, to fund the values that we have. It's just, it is there. So I love that, Tracey.
And I don't believe, sorry, just on that, I don't believe women innately chase money for money. Women are not greed-based. Women, my experience has been, want to make more money so they can provide for their families, so they can give their families the experiences, so they can it's always about not just them, it's always about their family, and because we're caretakers and we're caregivers, and money for us is about that.
Yep, 100%. And we believe, Tracey, like more money in the hands of more women like you, like us, like the women in Women, Wine and Wealth, that is only a great thing. It is only a great thing. It's like, why can't we all earn, it depends where you're at, but why aren't we earning $500,000? Why can't you earn $1 million a year? What would be so bad about that? Like, it's only going to be the best thing. Exactly. I love it. So the other question that we have, and I love this one because I think you're a massive source of inspiration, I know, to me and Beck. And the question is, how and where do you find your own inspiration from?
As in inspiration to do what I do?
It's pretty open, but let's do that, because I know that you literally wake up to serve and help women and spread this knowledge and help them financially accelerate. So yeah.
It's funny. I have, like every entrepreneur, I have moments where there's ups and downs and good days and bad days. And there are times when I just go, you know what am I doing? But I can't stop. There's this thing that I can't stop and I can't give up. I just can't. It drives me every single day to keep pushing through and forging through, no matter what obstacles come in my way of reaching as many people as I can. So I'm trying to answer the question by saying, where does that come from? I see I visualize a world where women are living on without compromise. They're not compromised financially. I believe the first step is the financial piece, and then everything else flows on from that. Because for me, it's about having economic freedom. It's about political freedom, social freedom, all of the things that women want to have. But I believe we've got to start with the economic freedom first. Once we get that financial power, that security behind us to be able to manage and make our own money decisions, everything else will flow on from that. But if we don't get that one right, the social, the political, and all that is still not going to get us there, because the money piece is the most important piece to start with. And so I see a world where women have that, and they are no longer a woman and can't do it, or a woman that earns 25% less income, or a woman that I believe in humanity. We're all human at the end of the day. Who cares what sex you are, man or woman? So we need to level it up. It's about leveling up. It's about creating that equality. And so what spurs me on is that belief, is that vision, and that desire, that burning desire inside me just keeps me pushing through. And a lot of that comes from my best and biggest mentors, my dad. He was a feminist. He had 5 daughters. I was the youngest of 5 girls, and he was a raving feminist and pushed all of us to be that strong woman. And so I know what that feels like. I love that. It's what keeps me. It's at my core. And no matter how often I get rattled, because that core is so strong, that foundational piece, nothing's ever going to get me down. I want to do that. If I could bottle it, I would bottle it and sell it to everyone. I want to give that. I want every woman to feel that.
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling it.
I
don't know whether it's the wine I've been drinking, but I'm feeling something. I'm definitely feeling something, Trace.
You know, and I mean that in the sense that there's going to be times in your life where you might feel, I don't know, second guessing yourself, maybe rattled by what someone says, or something didn't quite go right, and you know that character foundational piece gets a bit rattled, and you're like, oh, you've got to come back into here. And if you truly believe who you are, what you stand for, what your not negotiables are, and that you truly are an amazing person because someone told you were, then it's unshakable. No one can bring you down. That's it.
And every question we've had, everything is circulating. Is that a word? Circulating? Circulating is probably better. Let's try circulating.
It is now. It's a new word.
Hashtag circulate. Everything circulates back to your values. Everything, every answer you've had, it's coming back to the values. So if you haven't done your values test, we can post it in the group, or just we might have that available for everyone. So that's I'm really getting that today, Trace. So the next question we have is financial freedom it's just thrown around way too much, and it's everywhere these days. But and also something many want, but they can be flying blind to get there. So what are the key things that you must have in place to help achieve financial freedom?
Financial freedom really means this: when you don't have to get up to work and earn an income. Because right now, every day, most of us have to get up and we have to work with our hands on whatever we do, whether we're a trade or whether we're in front of a computer, whatever we do for a crust, we physically have to go. And it's called personal exertion. We've got to go and do the thing to earn the income. Financial freedom means that throughout your working life, you've built enough assets that allow you to stop working and the money drips into your bank account. And when that money is enough for you to live off, so whatever are you living off 60 grand a year, 70, 80, what is it? If you've got enough assets that drop that money into your bank account, you're financially free. That's the technical term for financial freedom. Financial freedom also means so many other things, like time freedom. Yeah. To be able to have time. So, and it is, again, back to the values. It depends on what's more important to you. Is it having less money and more time? What is the key one that you're looking for, and what does your financial freedom look like? In order to get there, it starts with your cash flow. You've got to get all over your cash flow, and you've got to have basic principles of siphoning money away from your weekly, monthly, whatever income that you're earning across to another side here, paying yourself first, and then taking that money and allocating it to investing, not saving. Saving money in a bank is never going to get you there. We need to invest. That's a whole other conversation, but in the most simplistic form, when that money comes into your hot little hands every week, you can't spend it all. You've got to put a little bit aside, and then that, when you've put it aside into that bank account, that goes and feeds maybe a share portfolio, a rental property, maybe some managed funds, whatever it's doing, but you must invest. That's how money grows.
Yep. I love that. The final question that we have, Tracey, and I feel like what you've shared there kind of touches on it, but if there's anything to expand on. So the world right now has shown us that it can happen. So it's not a what if conversation. I'm sure we've all heard that. What if this happens? Have 3 months savings in your account. What if? And I think, even speaking from personal experience, I'd always heard that, but I was like, well, it hasn't happened, so it doesn't get us into action, right? But it's happened. It's like a slap in the face for everyone right now. So what would you say getting your financial house in order looks like? Like what are some non-negotiables that we as women, it's just get to work on those things right now?
Yeah, I used to say to my own sister, I'd say to her, have you got some money set aside in an account for yourself? She'd be like, no. It's like, every girl needs her own stash of money. What's the matter with you? She'd be like, because you give it to her daughter all the time.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to have, and everybody knows this, I'm sure, I'm guessing, is what I call the cash cushion. So when you pay yourself first 10 to 30%, if you don't have the cash cushion, that 10 to 30% goes towards building that first. Now, best scenario, look, 3 months is good, 6 to 12 months is better, of covering your living expenses, whatever that may be. And it doesn't have to be the extravagant one, enough to pay your mortgage, your rent, your ongoing living expenses, food, all of that sort of stuff. Have that there. Once you've got that, tuck it away, get it in as high as you can interest account. You can invest that if you want, but knowing that investments go up and down, and have that tucked away. And only after that do we then have the next lot of 10 to 30% that you keep going with throughout your working life that starts feeding your investments. So yes, it did happen. And how good would it have been for everyone to have this cash cushion that just takes the load off, because we don't know what's going to happen in life. So imagine if you had 6 months, or better still, 12 months worth of wages, whatever that is, and not gross wages, because your wages is gross, then it's taxed. Like, just straight out, how much do you need a week to live, guys? Is it $1,000 a week? Is it $2,000? Whatever it is, imagine having 12 months worth of that in a bank account where you just go, we're sweet, all good. I've got that time without freaking out to actually be able to sit down and go to a plan B, have a look at what are the options, what's my next move? Is there an opportunity here? Can I build a business now? Like, a lot of stuff comes out of really bad times. A lot of good things come out of really bad times, out of adversity, out of frustration. People build all sorts of things and create all sorts of things. But how can you do that if your brain is just talking about or thinking about getting the next loaf of bread? Really hard. So yes, it has happened. And these are simple principles. I sit here listening to myself thinking they're all going to think, how boring was that? But it's not rocket science. And this is, everyone's looking for the magic pill. Everyone's looking for the wand, poof, there I am, fairy godmother. No, it really is basic stuff. And that's why it eludes so many people, because they're all thinking it's got to be more complicated than this. Guess what? It's not. It's just basic foundational stuff that is set into place out of your hands. Set yourself up for success. Trust the process, be consistent, and keep going.
Love that. Oh, Tracey, you always deliver, always. And it's just, thank you so much for your time that you always give to Women, Wine and Wealth and jumping on these calls. I know I got huge value, so I'm sure the ladies did too. And ladies, let us know, send us your biggest takeaway, send us your learning, but more importantly, what's the thing that you go into action right now from what Tracey has shared? Tracey, thank you so much for your time and for everything you do for Women, Wine and Wealth. We love and appreciate you so much.
Oh, I love this group and I love you girls, as you know. So I'm available all the time to Women, Wine and Wealth.
Thank you, Tracey.
It's an opportunity for me to talk to everyone.
Always. Always. Thanks, ladies. Have a beautiful afternoon.